heard of the term YOLO? Y-O-L-O. If you're regular on Twitter, you've seen YOLO. Guaranteed. YOLO is an acronym for You Only Live Once. Think of it as a slogan for the digital age. And over the past few years, it's arguably become the motto for many, if not most, of today's younger generation. Don't be surprised when you see the letters Y-O-L-O attached to all kinds of goals and activities, some good and maybe some not so good. For many, the phrase, you only live once, is more of a motivation for meaningful living and more of a convenient, sometimes tongue-in-cheek justification for fun, if not reckless living. And for mothers, of course, it can be a very powerful message. YOLO is written on the t-shirts of fraternity boys preparing for a party. Only live once. It's no doubt being written this coming week, maybe in marker on some young lady's hand when they're stuck in study hall, reflecting on something stupid that they might have done this past weekend. We can think of YOLO as yet another harmless but annoying acronym. That's pretty easy to dislike. Soon it'll be right up there with TGIF, LOL, or OMG. If you're like me, you probably don't have any idea what those things mean. Or we can play psychologist and choose to see something deeper going on here. What if YOLO is the cry of a generation that longs for significance, but turned around in a culture of instant gratification and self-absorption, has no idea how to find this significance? What if people are justifying their short-sighted behavior with a catchphrase meant to convince themselves that they're really just trying to get the most out of life? What if moms get confused with their priorities, become so self-absorbed that mothering suddenly takes a back seat to some other priorities in their lives? What if? Before we judge an entire generation too harshly, or judge some mothers too harshly, maybe we need to take a good look at ourselves. All of us have creative ways of justifying our behavior as we search for a deeper meaning of life. So maybe you're not walking around in a YOLO t-shirt. The boomer generation instead prefers things like a bucket list, a bunch of activities you'd like to do before you die, but probably won't have the time or the money or the energy or the health to do so. Aren't these ways of trying to add meaning to or getting the very most out of every day? The only difference is when you're younger, it might be hanging out in some questionable places. And when you're older, it might be skydiving or parasailing or writing a book or finding more ways to incorporate more fiber in your diet. You only live once, baby. Into our world of annoying acronyms and self-indulgent lists, along comes Jesus, who in today's reading that Steve shared with us kind of takes on our search for significance. The thief only comes to steal and to destroy, Jesus says. I have come so that my people may have life, have it abundantly. With these words, two profound things are made clear to us. First, Jesus affirms our desire for a well-lived life. One of the goals of his ministry is to make sure that we experience a full, abundant life as God intended. This is indeed very good news. Second, he tells us that although others will come making similar claims, only he, Jesus, can truly deliver. Whether you're of the YOLO generation or part of the bucket list brigade, or a mom struggling to keep your kids fed, clothed, and well-behaved, you're going to miss the boat if Jesus is not the shepherd in your life. You can yell YOLO all you want as you skydive, or you can record as many episodes of Dr. Oz that your DVR can handle. Or maybe you'll have a fun life. But only Jesus gives us the full life. At least that's what he's claiming for us. So if you're serious about arriving at the end of your life well spent, satisfied, fulfilled, then examining what Jesus brings to life to make it abundant is worth some serious effort. Let's take just three concerns, three driving values that often sit at the center of our obsessive drive to make the most out of our one life. The first is a concern for significance. Every human being, I guarantee you, but in particular the current population of young adults, which means just about everybody in here, since they're all younger than me. They're all inspired by the idea of giving their lives to a cause that is bigger and more noble than themselves. Young people want to give their lives to something of significance. If Christ is who he claims to be, then his agenda, in which he invites us to take part, becomes the most significant, the most noble, the most noteworthy, the most noteworthy cause that the world has ever known or will ever know. Motherhood, does it fit into this equation? Of course it does. What can be of greater importance than connecting people who have become distanced from God with the grace, mercy, and reconciliation of God? What is more significant than proclaiming the arrival of a new and desperately needed kingdom through word, sacrament, and acts of mercy and love? What possibly matters more than helping with the hurts of the broken and the hearts of the weary with tangible love and a message of peace from above? Rhetorical questions? No, sir. The answer to these three are obvious. Nothing is more significant, nothing matters more, nothing is more important. The second value or concern that drives so many in life is excitement. Having a baby is exciting, isn't it, moms? Especially at 3 o'clock in the morning when your baby is hungry and crying and there isn't anything your husband can do about it. That's pretty exciting stuff, isn't it? Many people are afraid that they will lay their head down to sleep on their final night of existence here on this earth and realize that they have never taken a risk. say that. We want to live embracing adventure. No one, to my knowledge, has ever said on their deathbed, you know, I probably should have been a little bit more boring. And so when we're young, we do that skydiving trip. Or when we're older, we make plans to hike the Appalachian Trail, whatever it might be. Following Jesus satisfies our sense of and our thirst for adventure. We have the opportunity to listen for the call of God and follow up on it if we want to. God invites us to get up, get our engines going, get ourselves revved up, and get out into the world to make a difference, to make God's world known in this world, this one world in which we are currently inhabiting. This doesn't necessarily mean that we'll be asked to risk everything for the cause of Christ or to do something really earth-shaking in our service to Him. But it does mean we should live ready for sacrifice, inconvenience, and commitment. No guts, no glory. God can and does all for us, for 100%. And when we give it to Him back, when we return 100% back to Him, then things can get pretty interesting and can get pretty exciting. Being a committed disciple of Jesus Christ is not for the faint of heart. Being a mom is no piece of cake either. You moms know that. What would happen? What if every morning we woke up with an attitude that said, whatever Jesus asks of me today, the answer's going to be yes. I'm guessing if we did that, we would never be lacking for excitement. Lastly, what drives so many of us, as I already stated, is a fear of being disappointed in the end. We're afraid that in the end we will have missed the point. So we try to cram as much living into life as possible, not realizing that when we're about ready to check out, we are likely to discover that although we've been running in circles. Lots of movement, but very little momentum. Lots of pursuit, but very little purpose. Enter Jesus, who offers a you only live once culture, the greatest comfort and abundant life. The point and purpose of life is not found in any one task, even as worthy a task as motherhood might be. The greatest promise Christ offers is this, that if we've found Him, if we've been forgiven and reconciled to God, then we have, right now, embraced the point of our personal existence. Now, no matter what we do or don't do in the days to come, when we stand face to face with God, we will long, I guarantee you, we will long to hear these words, I love you and well done. We've been put here to be blessed in the righteousness of Christ. But knowing this, we now have the freedom to risk greatly, to give deeply, and to chase the things of God without fear of failure. Why? Because we have already succeeded. The one goal of this life is fulfilled. We are connected to Christ. Now we can love deeply, give generously, and go adventurously. not in order to hit the mark, because we've already nailed it, or rather because Christ has already nailed it. You only live once. YOLO. With eyes and ears now ready to spot it, don't be surprised when you see it attached to all kinds of seemingly less than noble goals and activities. Same is true for our bucket lists. It's true. On this earth, we only live once. So let's get the very most out of this one life that we live. But let's do so by remembering that there is only one who offers a significant life, an abundant life. That person is Jesus the Christ. If you have prayer concerns, I encourage you to bring them forth or send them forth to an usher as we stand and sing together